happens is you'll find instances where clearly the woman was the aggressor. Clearly she's wrong. Clearly she lied. Clearly she contributed to what's going on. They can't see her as wrong. They'll have a built-in mechanism in their mind, in their way of conceptualizing what happened, to where she's always, so she cheated. Well, what wasn't he doing? She wasn't happy. Huh?
Right.
Like
Right.
you would
Right.
never be able to do, because the guy in the scenario is always guilty. So if she does something wrong, DDG, a great example going on with I think her name is Halle Bailey or whatever her name is. She made some very concerning remarks about safety and her life and having her child that would, in normal circles, would potentially resulted in you having your child removed or being given to the father. But because he's the guy in the scenario, well, she was going through postpartum. She had this going on. She had that going on. But you wouldn't do that if the man was the one who was making these type of comments. So what I'm trying to do is normalize not tearing down women per se, as much as normalizing, identifying, and shining light on the far extremist version of feminism that's resulted in and infiltrated all the very areas where we're supposed to learn, where we're supposed to be helped, and we're supposed to be effectively saved from ourselves. This is kind of seeped into so many different things. And again, you'll know the talking points. You'd be like, oh, if you say something, is clearly he's a misogynist. Oh, if a woman says it, she's a pick me. She clearly has internalized misogyny. They have a built-in catechism of go-to points to kind of insulate and protect themselves from being able to acknowledge that this is no longer a equality movement. This is a woman advocacy movement, but only typically for the worst aspects of what women are allowed to get away with. It does not represent equality in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and so that's been a talking point, that they don't want equality, they want supremacy.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So when you talk about the a woman says whatever, it's postpartum, and then there's an excuse given for that.
Mm-hmm.
Does it seem to you, and this is going to sound like a misogynist statement, but does it sound to you?
Mm-hmm.
I promise you, I'm not. People think that I am, but I'm not. Does it sound to you like there's an infantilizing that's going on with the ladies? The guys are supposed to perform this, but if a woman does it, well, there's an excuse to.
There is, but it's a picking and choosing of when you want to be treated as a princess, when you want to be treated as a queen, when you want to be treated as a child, versus when you want to be treated as a peer or adult or even a superior. That's all based off of which is most advantageous in the moment. When it's most beneficial, how do I want to be seen? In the workplace, do I want to be treated as a child, or do I want to be treated as equal to the men? When it comes to accountability, do I want to be treated as a child, or do I want to be treated as your equal? So it almost depends on the topic, and you'll know, and you'll be able to separate the two different types of women. There are women who will be reflective. They'll apologize. They'll acknowledge their fault. And the way you'll learn very quickly which type of woman you're dealing with, all you got to observe is how she responds to things that's happening in pop culture, particularly involving men and women. Who does she tend to side with? Does she tend to lean more to every time it involves a man or woman, regardless of what evidence is there or what little she knows, does she always side with the woman? Does she always side with the men, or is she a little bit more balanced and kind of letting the information and letting the evidence kind of present itself before she kind of makes a good judgment call? If you notice that all the worst women in our society in terms of celebrities, that props up all the worst stereotypical things relating to our culture, if she follows them, if she defends them, if you have situations like Cardi B where she's talking about drugging men and everything, and then she's holding them up as like an icon, that should kind of wake you up, where she shouldn't have to do much more to let you know where she stands on this spectrum between idolizing and centralizing where women stand and hating men. You'll learn that very quickly just by observation.